think it goes without saying I was disappointed with the opening exchanges for us. They started with brighter. Some poor choices, some poor performances in that, certainly in that first half, which was compounded by the sending off. As you look at the way the game unfolded and our second half performance, you have to beg the question, if we'd have started with the same sort of appetite and attitude, then things may have been different. Great second half performance, and obviously bitterly disappointed to concede in final moments.
Gary, again, like this hurts probably in two ways. My thought. What happens in the first half, you already explained it, and that kind of breaks whatever plan you had with the game. And what the effort in the second half, which probably the team deserved better, which one hurts the most?
Of course, the goal that we concede late on, to lose the game. I just felt at that point we'd done enough with 10 men. Everything was right about that second half. The guys applied themselves. They were disciplined when needed. They showed energy and fortitude going forward when they needed. They just expressed themselves in a far better way in the second half. One or two of the additions made a big impact. Chris Turpak was terrific, made a big difference. And whilst Tucker didn't get too many efforts on goal, he becomes that focal point again. And delighted to see Taylor score. My disappointment was our thought process and management after the goal. And maybe, I've been in that position as a player before. They've thrown so much energy at the game with 10 men to try and force it. They scored a goal. I honestly felt that just a slightly better management of the final moments. They had two exceptional chances in the final 3-4 minutes. And they'd had very, very little before that. Now, as a professional, it should only take one of those moments for you to be thinking, okay, we may have done our best work. We're going to grab a point. We're going to deny them all three. We've had a difficult position that we're in. And I'm screaming from the line for players just to take up slightly more cautious start positions, not to be quite as adventurous. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be.
Did you feel the players were pushing for a winner there instead of kind of accepting that it was probably a one-point performance?
Well, I'm looking from the line, and of course there are things I can do. And I just felt that the shape we had at that point had suffocated an awful lot of their play, and they were the better side in the first half. With 10 men, we found ourselves in a better position. I felt the mindset was better. Some of our play, for sure, was more aggressive and fulfilling in the final third. The stats bear me out on that. We were far more effective with a man less. So, I'm looking at the shape and the group and thinking, okay, we can soak this up for the last 10 minutes. And if I'm on the field, I'm thinking, hold on, why? We're in a good spot. We weren't, I don't think we were trying to win the game. I think we had moments where we saw there were opportunities to try and get into a more aggressive position, but it wasn't like we had centre-backs up at centre for we can win this, or the goalkeeper coming up for corners. The guys were just taking chances when they didn't need to. They read the situation poorly. There were one or two choices to go and press the ball, in advanced areas that were just kamikaze. It was crazy. And that's down to an individual's choice. However, what I will say is that I'm repeating myself here. when you've put that much into the game as we had for an hour with 10 men, there are choices that you make that can come through fatigue and you know, some mental fatigue as well, and maybe that was the case.
Walk us through your thought process during the break, when you know, because you're playing against a very good side, anyways. That's bottom line. Now, when the team comes back in the second half, you made several switches. What was your thought process about that? How do you know, or how do you feel that these switches will work for the team to play what may be the best second half of the season?
Yeah, with a man down.
Yeah.
Against a good side who are in very confident form. I felt we had the right players out there to navigate 15, 20 minutes. We needed to try and, you know, really put a pin in their momentum, goal up, by far the better team in the first half. I wanted the group to stay narrow and offer up the wide areas and try and, you know, prevent them from just being able to, at will, switch play, work us over and find areas on the field that were going to cause us problems with overloads. So I wanted the group to make the central areas of the field difficult to play through, which I felt they were. They started to get a tad frustrated. We certainly did our job for the first 15, 20 minutes. And then Chris Turpak was the first change. Chris was somebody that I thought could come in and inject some energy down that side, down the right-hand side, and he did just that, which was great. From there, it was a case of trying to work out how we were going to get more purchase in the game and create, not just create some chances, but get players higher up the field. So I had to go back to a back three to do that. There was no other way that we were going to get bodies higher up the field and to find ourselves in more aggressive areas. And for the vast majority of that period, it worked. We not only scored, thought we had 2 or 3 other good moments that we may well have equalised before then. But in fairness, it's been a bit of an Achilles heel of ours all season. You know, chances come and go. We've had 17 efforts at goal. 4 on target, did you tell me? 3 on target?
Yeah.
That's not good enough. You know, for a side that are creating as many moments and opportunities, we've found it difficult all year.
From your experience, Gary, this is my last one here. A game like this could come back and bite the team for what happened, for the result, or could it actually be that the second half, be played as it was played against 10, could be the catalyst that the team needs going forward?
Well, our form has been very good, and I just felt in the first half there may have been 1 or 2 players that just took that for granted a little bit. I thought they started off casually. There wasn't that bite and appetite that there can be in our game. We've played in 2 very, very difficult arenas at Louisville and Cincinnati, and I saw a group of players that fought for everything and showed a real edge to their game. I just thought we were too casual. We started the game as if it was going to be won at some point. We'll get this done, and that overconfidence was you know, certainly not the right attitude, and it offered them the opportunity to take the lead. We've got a game in 3 days' time. The second half performance has to be our focus. We certainly need to take full points out of that. And at a stage in the season where, of course, every point we can add to the board is vital, we're still in a good spot. However, it doesn't take long before a couple of bad results can leave you in a very average position. So we have to put that in the rearview mirror, take the positives out of the second period, lick our wounds, learn from our mistakes, and try and take advantage of some of the things that are going to go on in the future. I think I mentioned, not but a couple of weeks ago, we'll see some twists and turns in this running. No 2 ways about it. You know, I saw that Charleston were 2-0 up before we came out for the game, start of our game, and ended up 4-4. There'll be some disappointment there. There'll be some difficulties for every team in this running towards the playoff and post-season positions. We have to make sure that we're not on the receiving end too often, and certainly we need to get back on track Tuesday.
Obviously, it had to change once Ish got sent off, but what was kind of your mentality in starting Allen and Rapapa next to each other up top?
Yeah, look, I think Tucker and Brandon have done a terrific job in the last 3 games. I anticipated that they may press high, which they did, and they made life very difficult for us to play out. I thought that pace and energy and that exuberance, that youthful exuberance would give us the opportunity to get down the side of their centre-backs, who I honestly thought might be a weak link for them. It didn't work out that way. We made some really poor choices. I thought the service into the front lads was certainly not at the level that we can expect from this group. In saying that, the front 2 didn't cover themselves in glory. When the ball came into their feet, they lost possession too often. And it meant that the game was played for too often in our half of the field. And at that point, we had problems. Because now you've got a group of very talented young players who, by the way, have improved dramatically since I saw them in the early stages of the season, so credit to them. It doesn't surprise me they've been on the run they've been on, given what I've seen tonight. And when you're playing the majority of the game in your half of the field, you're offering them everything that they want. They ran at our back line, they caused us problems, they were bright, they were creative, and before we conceded, I thought we looked shaky. And that's not the team I've seen in the last 3 games. We've played the game in their half of the field. We've made life difficult for our opponents in their half of the field. And as I said a little bit earlier, I thought we were far too flippant and casual about the way we opened the game. And that's just not us. And it's not right.
You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but how do you refocus going into a game with such a short turnaround?
Well, we haven't got long. There were a few things we covered post-game here. The guys will be back in tomorrow to go for a regeneration session. We'll train again Monday, and we'll make sure that some of the things that were certainly worthwhile to talk about and look at are our focus. We've got a team coming in that, at the flip side of the group that we've just played, are not confident. They've been beaten 6-0 at home. That won't feel good. But like every wounded creature, you come out fighting if you've got anything about you, and I'm sure they will. I've not seen an easy game yet. I don't expect one Tuesday. And if we turn up with the wrong attitude, I'm sure we'll fall foul of a result again.